Don't look at my hair, don't look at my face. I just want to make these videos without anyone actually perceiving me. Is that possible? Tell me truly, would you watch my videos if it was just a black screen and my voice talking? Because I just don't want to be perceived. Welcome to my video. You're balanced on a water bottle, and that is such a bad idea. Put on one of my coziest comfort shirts that I can find. And today we're going to be reading for... What? I'm starting this late. It's 3:30. I did get up. Yeah, I'm awake. I did read actually a little bit this morning at 1:30, and I was like, I'm gonna start this at 1:30. Turns out that didn't happen because like I read a little bit of The Two Towers by Tolkien. New book just came out, really exciting. Can you tell that I haven't left the apartment in like too long? It is a gross day out there. It's not fun. It's raining. It's just started to rain, so I'm not gonna go. Actually, I might go to a cafe today. I have some books. Let me tell you about these two first because I don't know really what the plan is. So I was reading The Two Towers today, and I would like to finish this today because look, my forehead looks so big. I got them big ideas. I would really like to finish The Two Towers just like kind of right now at the beginning of the readathon because I'm 704 pages through and I only have like 40 pages left. Why has The Two Towers taken me forever and a day to get through? I don't know what it was. I think it's because of the way that the storylines are split, if you know what I'm saying. And I love Frodo and Sam and Gollum as much as the next person. But it's not as exciting, is it? I'm gonna finish this first, and then the other book I have on the go is House of the Spirits by Isabel Allende. This one I think I'm not gonna pick up today. I'm just gonna leave this for the regular vlog. I'm 350 pages through this, but I don't want to read this today. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think you're gonna see this footage before the weekly vlog. I'm disappointed. Don't hate me. Don't hate me, but I'm disappointed in this. You can blame someone whose name rhymes with Jabriel Marcia Garquez. Anyway, we're not gonna talk about it here. I'm not gonna pick that up today. I want to finish The Two Towers. And then I really need to start Return of the King, but I don't want to do that in today's video because of one particular reason. We're gonna go see right now because, oh my god. This book is kind of the whole reason that I wanted to start this readathon because I really... Ministry of Time by Colleen Bradley. I started this a few days ago. I'm not gonna speak too soon. I'm not going to. No, but I am. Actually, I am. I think this might be one of my favorite books of the year. I picked this book up and a few people were like, Emma, you're reading a plagiarized book. And first of all, I was like, I seriously don't know what you're talking about. I looked it up and a lot of people were upset before this book even came out because they thought that it was plagiarized from a Spanish TV show by the same name called The Ministry of Time, and then the book actually came out and people actually read it. And the general consensus, I think, now is people are like, yeah, it shares the same title and it features time travel like the TV show, but that's where the similarities end. I started this a few days ago. I'm 54 pages in. I don't know if you can see all of the little tabs. I'm just kind of a little bit too much in love to make a lot of sense right now. Essentially, to give you just the gist before we start reading, before I just start reading the entire book to you out loud, this is about how the English government they've discovered time travel and they want to see if it is feasible for humans. Like, they've discovered time travel, but they haven't actually sent anyone forward or backward. And so what they decide to do is take, I think, like 7 people from different years in the past and bring them into present day and see how their bodies and minds react to time travel. This necessitates people working with them, known as bridges, to the expats of history who've been taken out of their own time. Our main character is tasked with overseeing 1847, who is this man named Commander Graham Gore, who perished in his own timeline on the famous, kind of infamous, journey of Captain Franklin, right? His journey to the Arctic to try and find the Northwest Passage. Spoiler alert for history, I don't know. They all died. They never found the passage. They all starved to death. So he's taken out of his timeline and placed into her care. I haven't felt this way about a book in so long. I am laughing, I'm giggling. It is so funny. I think she is, I don't want to speak too soon, but I think Colleen Bradley is like a genius. the way that she's writing, what she's choosing to talk about. We are gonna get so into this book today that I am so excited, and I kind of want to catch you up to speed with all of my thoughts on it. We're gonna finish Two Towers first, then we're gonna get into the Ministry of Time. That is the plan for today. Let me make a coffee and let's finish the Two Towers. Kelsey, what are you doing to that man? What are you doing to that man? If you guys are new here, these are the cats. This is a cat. This is the one who got none of the brain cells. He didn't get any. This is the little baby who does no wrong in his life. All he knows is love, really. And then we have to go find the demon of darkness. Okay, and then this is the other one. This is the one who craves violence. World domination. Kelsey.
Hi, baby.
I'm hoping when I'm done this book, the rain will have slowed down so I can get out of the house. I'm on page 718. I'm on Shelob's Lair, so I'm almost done. I only have about 20 pages left. It's so good. But I don't know if you can hear the thunder, but it has now decided to start like properly storming and pouring. So we'll see what ends up happening. I would really like to get out of the house, but for right now, I'm just gonna finish this. Okay guys, at this point in the readathon, I'm thinking of going to a cafe to read, listen to music. Oh, but wait, picture this. You walk into a cafe, get your coffee, sit down, log onto the free public Wi-Fi to pull up your favorite ambiance to listen to as you read. What you don't know is that public Wi-Fi can be compromised by criminals to intercept your data. While you're browsing, criminals harvest sensitive data that you enter into unencrypted websites. That's not cool. You need someone to have your back. You need NordVPN. NordVPN enables you to encrypt your local traffic at all times to keep you safe. Their mission is to make the internet a better place by keeping it free from censorship, surveillance, and online threats. It's time to meet Threat Protection Pro, which offers advanced digital protection against malware. Are you downloading a file? Threat Protection checks it for malware. Are you clicking a link? Threat Protection Pro blocks websites that are fake, malicious, or used for phishing, fraud, or scams. It can also block ads for a smooth browsing experience. One NordVPN account can protect up to 10 different devices, and there's also a 30-day money-back guarantee if you don't feel satisfied. Every purchase of the 2-year NordVPN plan will receive 4 months bonus on top, plus up to 20 gigabytes of the Saley data voucher. What the heck is Saley, you might ask? Briefly, Saley is a new eSIM service app brought to you by Nord Security. With Saley, you can choose from several affordable eSIM plans in over 150 countries. If you're traveling, if you're lost abroad, or if you just need an internet connection with no Wi-Fi in sight, that's where Saley comes in. It also saves you money on roaming fees. Are you roaming? You guys can click the link here or in the description box to try NordVPN completely risk-free. Let's hit up that cafe now. Oh, hello.
Do you want a showdown? Sit. Pop. You want to go up? Spin? Wow, so good. Up. Spin. Oh my goodness, one more. Up. Spin. Wow. There you go.
I just finished the Two Towers. I just finished the Two Towers. Easy 5-star. The ending bits with Sam and Frodo, can I just say, like, I'm gonna have a whole vlog about the Lord of the Rings, but I like added in so many tabs and like so many parts of them together near the end, just like so impactful, so emotional. I just love them. born again. The rain has not let up. It's still lightning and thundering. So I think I'm gonna stay in for a little bit longer. Keep reading Ministry of Time. Gave you like the little synopsis, but it just touches on so many things and you can read it so many different ways. Because you have people from the past becoming immigrants to London in present day, and there's so much commentary, veiled commentary, so many metaphors, whatever you want to call it, on England's immigration policies, which I am not familiar with. Like, literally imagine bringing a man from 1847 in the Victorian period who's been like away at sea his whole life into present day and introducing him to everything. So of course you have like the hilarious aspects of it where he discovers stuff like Spotify and the fact that the British Empire is no longer and all of that, but then you have like very nuanced human conversations. There's so much about the performance of identity as well. So good. I love our narrator. I love Graham. Hold on a second. Writing a book like this, I think it takes a lot of skill because it takes a very specific touch. It takes a very light touch to pull this off in a way that isn't, I don't know, it's not overdone, it's not too much. It's just like I can't even describe it to you, the way that she has like crafted this novel in a way that just feels incredibly natural. He discovers Spotify. He's like, will you please instruct the machine to play Bach Sonata in E flat major? After a while, he covered his eyes with his hands. And one can simply repeat it infinitely, he mumbled. Yep, would you like it again? No, I don't think it's very respectful. Talking about the TV, any child or unmarried woman of virtue might engage the machine and be faced with lurid examples of criminal behavior. No one's making you watch Midsummer Murders or deformed monstrosities against the will of God. What? Sesame Street. Finally, at a loss for anything else to do, he began to pick over the bookshelves. I hit an early win with Arthur Conan Doyle. He liked Great Expectations, but made it less than a fifth of the way through Bleak House. I suggested the Brontes, and I might as well have told him to pick up and read A Pigeon. He had no patience for Henry James, but he liked Jack London. Out of curiosity, I tried him on Hemingway, which he pronounced shocking and read in the bath. I'm scared, to say the least. I think this book is gonna break my heart. I have that feeling. You know what? We're doing it. Usually we don't go egg mode until much later. I've been listening to the audiobook of House of the Spirits. That's my audiobook right now. I think I'm gonna switch it because why am I not liking House of the Spirits? Can someone like literally tell me, look me in the eyes, why am I not liking it? So tomorrow we must go to the cafe. I'm gonna make this. Cat check number 1.
Buddy. Hi, buddy.
I think I'm gonna come read in here, okay? I'm gonna come read in here with you. Yeah. I'm gonna come read with you. Let go. The romance in here, because there is eventually gonna be, I'm gonna take the dust jacket off. There's eventually gonna be a romance between the two of them. It is so cute. The way that this book switches from making me like literally giggle, okay? Giggle. Throw my face into a pillow. Gore is, I'm just gonna call him Gore, is discovering things like germs to calm him down from like the panic attack that he's having over germs, discovering germs. He took some comfort, they go on a walk. He took some comfort from the fresh air, at least once we'd stepped out onto the heath. I was enthusiastically describing the cause of tooth cavities with hand motions. I don't think it's very polite of you to say there are germs in my mouth. There are germs in everyone's mouth. Speak for yourself. There will be germs on your shoes and under your nails. It's just how the world works. I won't be participating. You don't have a choice. I will write a strongly worded letter of complaint. We walked a little farther. When he saw me scrutinizing him, he raised his eyebrows, and I tried a cautious smile. Careful, he said. Your germs are showing. Your Honor, I love him. There's so much talk because, what's the word I'm looking for? It's so timely. It's so timely. There's a lot of discussion about political correctness and like what is like correct or just, yeah, what you can say nowadays, and that obviously you would not be saying anymore because this guy is from 1847 and things are different now. A lot of the things that she feels compelled that she has to tell him that things are this way, where like maybe she doesn't entirely believe it herself, or like she has to perform a certain way or has to correct him in a certain way because that's what the time period in like her day is telling her to do. But then like he'll just break it down so simply by being like, oh, well actually in my period the word wasn't used like that, and like it was okay to say certain things. It didn't mean any disrespect, and now like everyone's kind of going a little feral about it, but it's just like so good. Or the writing as well. So previously, before her job, when she got cleared to be a top secret ministry worker, she worked in the government previously in languages as the primary translator on a project between the Trade Department and a Pan-Asian Forestry Commission. I'd had a grisly time translating internally displaced person. I'd sat with the term until I'd broken it down semantically. I was wrestling with a ghost meaning, a person whose interiority was at odds with their exteriority, who was internally, in themselves, displaced. I was thinking about my mother, who persistently carried her lost homeland jostling inside her like a basket of vegetables. Gore was internally displaced in this way. I could sometimes see him regarding the modern world as if through a telescope. He stood forever on the deck of a ship somewhere in the early 1800s. He must have done it even in his own era, coming down from the ports to note with alarm that women were wearing their sleeves wide again, that some European country had declared war on another again, while he was months or years away at sea. He told me stories as if he were trying to catch himself in amber. This is her debut novel, by the way. Things that authors put into their books elevate it to a whole different level, and they can just be surface observations that are just... Because that's the goal of the novelist, right? You like observe so much, you step back and you like are so aware of everything that you can just put into words. I've just never... Sorry, I'm trying to describe this one sentence that she wrote and I can't tell you what it is about it that so caught me off guard, because I don't think I've ever heard someone describe just like something this way before, or this sensation or this experience before. Or has like cut his hand on something. He's left a smear on the table the color of tamarind flesh. There is a sour, steady pain in his palm that he briefly misunderstands as a taste. Yes, exactly. Like I've never heard anyone else bear witness to that. Obviously tell me if I'm crazy and if this doesn't happen to you, but clearly it has happened to the author or just someone else, because sometimes you experience a sense, like your brain gets it confused in a different way. In this case, like feel something, sense something, but your brain at first takes it as a taste. Like sometimes when I hit my funny bone, I feel like sometimes when I hit my funny bone, it'll register as like a taste or a sensation elsewhere. Awareness. That is so beautiful. It's just so beautiful the way that she puts it. And the people that are brought back, right? Because we have Gore, who's from 1847, but we have another guy. There's 5 of them that survived the journey. Another guy is from 1916, and he's been pulled right from a battle in World War I, the Battle of the Somme. And these people, I should say that these people who were taken from the past all died in their own timelines. So that's why the ministry chose them, because they thought if the person was dead, like they wouldn't really be messing up history that much. But it's just like, you can read it in so many different ways, and I love that it's not so clear cut. I think that's what's so great about this novel, is that like the people who are getting sent to modern day England, they are obviously from the past, they are immigrants, and they are refugees of time. So much of their experience, I think, really reflects what it feels like sometimes to be displaced and come to a country like England and try to settle down there, especially if you are coming from a time and place like 1916. We're just going to call them their years, 1916. He's literally coming from this traumatic battlefield. 1916 keeps asking when he's going to be sent back to the front. Can't keep it in his head that the war's been over for a century. One of the many hypotheses coagulating in these early days of time travel was that language informed experience, that we did not simply describe but create our world through language, like Adam in the Garden of Eden calling a spade, or whatever happens in Genesis. At its heart, the theory promised that the raw stuff of the universe could be carved into a causal household, populated by an extended family of concepts. The expats, loose as dust in narrative time, were schooled mercilessly in description. According to the hypothesis, the more accurate their vocabulary, the more likely they would temporally adjust. Assimilate is actually the word we used. To begin with, the language experiment had a chilly, near-sensual thrill. There's something vengeful about agreeing on an interpretation. There's something vengeful about agreeing on an interpretation. Set your narrative as canon, and in a tiny way you have pried your death out of time, as long as the narrative is recalled by someone else. I certainly understood better why people became writers, and why jealous lovers forced so many false confessions, and why the British history curriculum looks the way that it does. This is magnificent. This is just so good. I used like a new foundation this morning and it's made my face a reflective surface. 71 pages into the Ministry of Time and something is happening. I want to say what, but I know something is happening, and like we're 70 pages in now and we're like the first little setups of something not right is happening. Not with gore, thankfully, like he's not dissolving or he's not like, you know, dying because of the time travel. It's just something weird is going on in the ministry, and I think I know what it is, but I don't want to say anything. If I'm right, I'm just gonna be like, oh my god. Like, this book would actually be so crazy if it was what I think it is. Things are just weird. Like one thing, for example, that I'm not gonna say, that isn't gonna give anything away, I don't think, even though I don't actually know what's happening. Gore is like, hey, do you know what this thing is that I saw at the ministry the other day when like you left me there, because they went to give him an MRI and he saw this thing, and she's like, what the hell are you talking about? That doesn't sound like anything that I know. Could you like sketch it? And so he sketches what he saw for her because he likes to draw. He likes to draw a lot. And she's like, what the hell is that? Dinner, he's like, I think we should get a dog. I want a dog. And she's like, no, cats are smaller. We do not need a cat, he said. A little creature who sleeps for hours and plays with her prey. We already have you. I'm loving it, but I'm so scared now. I'm so scared. I'm so scared. So it is now 8 p.m. and I got 118, I think, pages through the Ministry of Time. I don't know if you can see like all of these tabs, but it's just still so good. I think I was really right when I was like, this is gonna be a 5-star, this could be a favorite book of the year, because it's just continued on being incredible at every turn. I say this a lot with novels, but one thing that I really have a problem with and that makes them rate lower is when authors don't maintain the same performance throughout the book. Like it feels like they get tired or weary of inserting like description or cute moments or making it atmospheric, or just they can't maintain the same not effort, but the same craft they start the novel with. I feel this a lot with a lot of books, and especially I think newer authors that I read from. I get very hooked into the beginning because I think people put, you know, a lot of effort into the start of their novels because they know that that's where people start usually reading a book, but it seems like they get tired with it and their craft falls off, their promises fall off. But the Ministry of Time, holy shit. So 118 pages in, I am so scared of what I think is happening and what is going to happen. Like, I'm sure that I know what is going on, but that's not making it any different of an experience for me. I am loving it to death, loving it to bits and pieces. I can't really tell you anymore. He is experiencing now stuff like climate change. Their relationship is still like just developing so nicely, and just like sad stuff like the garden is dead, he said. On the last night, the bleeder night they were called because of how many people had nosebleeds, the temperature dropped fast and I felt my first breeze in 4 days. Toward dawn, I heard him say, my England wasn't like this. Obviously this leads into question about like if they have time travel. Gore is the first one to ask it really of our protagonist, of our narrator, who actually I don't think her name is ever said. Whereas like, well, can't you go back and stop like the spread of fossil fuels and carbon emissions? And then when our narrator brings it up with the superior, she's like, you misunderstand how history works. History is not a series of causes and effects which may be changed like switching trains on a track. It is a narrative agreement about what has happened and what is happening. So we're not going back in time to strangle baby Hitler. You're a stupid girl. Yes, ma'am. When they're fighting, or just not like fighting, but when they're bickering or get into an argument or disagreement because of like their time differences, our narrator will say stuff like, I made the dish I thought was most likely to symbolically kill a Victorian child with the ingredients I had on hand, which was mapo tofu with a belligerent amount of garlic and mala. 118 pages through, I feel like I'm at the point in the book where things might get a little devastating from here on out, and it's kind of that point in a novel where you feel a storm brewing and you're like, you know what, maybe I would just like to close up shop right here right now and pretend that this is where it ends. What I might do now that I've gotten that much of the way through is I might just pick up something else for maybe not for the rest of the night, but just for right now, something like, this is fun, this is hilarious, but something just like just purely fun and giggly and silly. We're gonna look through the jungle. Welcome to the jungle. Oh, I can put you right here. That's actually really dangerous. You're balanced on the spine of the golden compass. That's really not safe. Am I gonna do this? We'll risk it for a biscuit. Don't fall, okay? Just don't fall. Please just like, please practice like inner stability, core strength. Don't stay there. Okay. Go for an interlude. It is a while later and I'm just about to jump in the shower. It's like 11 now. I just got back from a nice walk outside, got to see some baby skunks, but in the interim of everything, I did finish another book. I decided to pick up Ultimately She and Her Cat by Makoto Shinkai, who wrote one of my favorite, things of media ever, which is Your Name. It was sent to me by Yen Press, so thank you so much. I had really high hopes for this, but ultimately, like, this is just a 1-volume manga. Thank God, because I did not need to start any new manga series, but this was just not great. Essentially, it's about this stray cat who gets taken in by this girl, very lonely, in her 20s, new to adult life, working her first job, living away from home, living on her own, and it's all set from the cat's perspective, like trying to see and trying to understand her life, which sounds so cute, but it was just like weird. Neither of them really have any personality, and cats have like huge personalities, but this cat was just obsessed with his owner, and that was it. And I'm like, have you met most cats? Like, they're so their own person. That was fine, but like the cat thought of her as his lover, and like he would sneak out of the house and go and hook up with other cats on the side, but then he would be like to other cats, no, I can't marry you, I have an older lover at home. Essentially, this was just like 20 pages of this cat saying that, oh my god, my owner is so beautiful, I love it when her hair is like that, I love it when she puts on a little bit of perfume. The illustrations of our girl were just like very, I don't know, I'm just like, why do you have to draw her like that? Like, she's just at home chilling out, being so depressed. She doesn't have any friends, she is so overworked, and she is losing connection with like her family, drifting away from her family, and she kind of just has no one, and she's so lonely, and the only creature that's there for her is her cat. But it just was like weird. I'm not sure what this was. This is not what I was expecting from Makoto Shinkai. Just the learn my lesson. I'm just gonna go back to Ministry of Time now. I haven't made any more progress in this, but because my sleep schedule is the way that it is and it's kind of already messed up a little bit, I think what I'm gonna do now is just get in the shower. I really need to wash my hair and then probably just curl up with the Ministry of Time for at least a couple more hours. Probably make some tea or something too. I am sorry for the really shitty quality. I wanted to come on and close off this readathon. I don't think I'm gonna be able to tell you really what this book means to me, and in all honesty, I don't even want to go into all of it because so much let me just be honest, so much of it is about topics that I know if I say one thing about, the comments aren't gonna look as pretty as they always look. Like keeping the comments a very safe space. Not that I think what I would say is like wrong or hurtful, because that's not the train I'm going down. I don't think this was the book that I should have, or maybe it is the exact right book that I should have read right now when I'm just honestly been in a very low mood. It's been quite the struggle for me to pull off this readathon. It was just a lot to pull myself out of bed even this morning. This book, I think, is so smart. There's so much going on. It definitely requires a second read through for sure. The bad thing I want to say about the craft of the novel in general, because I did decide ultimately to give this 5 stars, although it wasn't a perfect 5-star book for me because I think the ending honestly botched it a little bit. Getting weirded out by the glare of my own spit. What it decided ultimately to do with time travel and the direction of the book, I think it got very confusing and convoluted, and I'm still trying to make it all work in my mind. Like I've literally tried to sit down and be like, what the heck, and get into the particularities, which is not what I like doing with time travel and why I don't usually read any book that deals with time travel in general, because I just don't want to think about it. I don't know. I don't want to get lost in the sauce of all the complexities of time travel, and so that's what I'm gonna try not to do with the Ministry of Time, because this was just so excellent. It gets really well for me personally at a lot of the things that I have been feeling recently with regards to, first of all, just growing up and being an adult in your 20s for the first time, and realizing that, oh, so this is it. This is the life now that you're kind of a fully formed person outside of your parental or caregiver care. This is what the world looks like. And the second part of that, which really pertains to the Ministry of Time, is just being like, so this is modern life in 2024. And I don't know how to say this because it sounds so cliche, but the Ministry of Time, I think, just made the feeling something valid for me when you don't feel like you're It's not necessarily even this, but it's this because I can't put it any other way. It doesn't feel like you're in the time period you're supposed to be, or at least in modern day, not in the locale you're supposed to be, because obviously there's still like farms in 2024 and like rural, untouched places. But the way that it was put in the Ministry of Time to these people who have literally been taken out of their own time and thrust into 2024, it is devastating to me the way that Gore reacts to seeing what has become of his country and the urbanization, the industrialization, the climate change, so many malaises of the modern world, like social media. And literally, as I was reading this book in a coffee shop, this lady walked by with her son in a stroller, who is, first of all, way too old to still need a stroller, assuming his legs work fine. Second of all, just like glued to a phone. And he's like a toddler, still in his toddler years, just glued to a phone, nothing going on, just like face in the phone, sitting in a stroller being pushed around this incredibly busy metropolitan area. And I was just like, what? There's also a really pertinent remark made by Arthur, who is the 1916 man. His whole thing is that he kind of wants to be a caretaker because eventually the expats do need to integrate themselves into society, so much so that they get a job. And he's like, well, I've always wanted to like care for people or work with the elderly or with children. He says, I think the suffragettes did bally well. I can see there are famous career opportunities for a bright and ambitious young lady, but I can't help noticing that the exchange has not been all equal. I rarely see chaps taking care of old folks or scrubbing the floors. People still look at a man ferrying a child without a wife alongside with something like suspicion or pity. I've read all sorts on the liberation of the queers. Do you say it like that? The queers? And the working woman and the feminist revolution and so on and so forth. But I watch and I can see what your era likes. You use the same patterns as we did, as Gore's people did, and Margaret's too. You just expect women to do more of it. That's all. I love the structure of this when we have these literal people bringing people from the past into the present, judging them by our present moment, by our presentism, by like the belief that our era, because it's the most progressive and the most far advanced into society, like we are the ones that are right. You guys did everything backwards. You guys did things wrong. You were all a certain way. You need to correct yourselves, get with the flow, educate yourselves, and do better. But then you have like these people from the past coming in and being like, oh, this feels like home, or even just like judging it and critiquing it from their own standpoint. And like, it is such a hard pill to swallow for these bureaucrats and people in power, and especially our narrator, who is clinging to this belief that she is doing the right thing, or not even that she's doing the right thing, but she's just doing this out of a basic need for survival, which I'm not going to say too much on that point, because if you read this book, her journey and her character, I think, is so complicated, so complex. There's so much nuance there. It just feels like such a real story. It's so pertinent as well because you as the reader, and also our main character who is never named, she and like the whole program and everyone, mostly her, because I think this book is really going to hit for people like my age and a little bit older and a little bit younger especially. They all expect that Graham, coming from 1847, he is going to be like infused with sexist, racist, misogynistic, colonizer vibes, and like that's going to be his whole mindset. And of course, them living in 2024, they're going to be the more progressive, open-minded, like not stuck in their ways, and like they are the ones who are correct about things and about different stuff. And it's very, very interesting and scary the way that Cleanne Bradley talks about these things. Our narrator isn't a necessarily morally gray character in the way that I think a lot of people visualize or think about a morally gray character, but she is very much in the system, and you see that, first of all, have things really changed that much? And second of all, so much of it is performative bullshit. And the book really, really gets at that, especially so much of it fueled by social media and bigger structures who basically put you through so much training and like etiquette training and like political correctness, or whatever you want to lump all of those categories into, that you stop seeing people as just people, and all of a sudden like our character tiptoes around everyone, tiptoes around everything, and it's so disheartening to see the way that like two people could be having a normal conversation, but they are so scared to even open up a little bit and like talk about anything because they don't want to get it wrong. Like they don't want to accidentally use a wrong word, say a wrong thing, come off in a bad way. And I think the surveillance that social media has created, especially as we go further and further with it, is driving people to paranoia with this. And I mean, I see this in my own work. I'm on YouTube, I make videos of myself. I'm always so scared that I'm gonna be misinterpreted or misconstrued or have something like that happen. But to see it just put so beautifully in a book like The Ministry of Time, where it shows just how detrimental this is and how 1984-esque it has become, with like, you can't say certain things, you can't say that at all, you can't even be a little bit wrong, but like at the end of the day everyone is just human and just choosing compassion and empathy and kindness. Like that's all that can be expected, I think, at the end of the day. I don't know if any of this is making any sense. To me, Taylor Swift is like well aware of the irony, and like she's self-actualizing enough to like evaluate her own craft and song work and lyricism. But it's very much the song I Hate It Here, which has such the lyric that really does pertain to the book, about like how as a kid you would sit around with your friends and play the game of what era you'd want to live in. And the lyric is like, I'd say the 1830s, but without all the racists and getting married off for the highest bid. And she was like, all of a sudden the game isn't fun anymore. Nostalgia is a mind's trick. If I'd been there, I'd have hated it.